Hi there. Today I'd like to share my top 5 tips for backing a crowdfunding campaign. My first tip is to make sure you understand the different types of crowdfunding that are out there. Now these fall into two very broad categories. The first is rewards-based crowdfunding and the second is equity-based crowdfunding. With rewards-based crowdfunding, you back a project and at the end of the project you get some kind of reward. So if someone is making a thing, you may get a variant of that thing. If someone's making a film, for example, you might get to go and see the film. With equity crowdfunding, when you invest in the company, you end up owning a piece of the company. This is a very big difference in these two types of crowdfunding, and it's worth knowing those two broad categories before you start even thinking about investing in a crowdfunding project. Now, rewards-based crowdfunding is kind of divided into a lot of subcategories as well, where you have personal crowdfunding, so you get, kind of students who need to pay their way through university, etc., and charities as well who are looking to raise money, sometimes on an ongoing basis, sometimes for a particular project that they've got. And with those, although they're technically rewards-based programs because you don't actually own any equity in what you're investing in, they are slightly different because it is generally just you chipping into a pot to make something happen for someone. So the number one tip is to understand what kind of crowdfunding site that you are investing in, what kind of project it is you're investing in. My second tip is make sure that you research the campaign that you're thinking about backing. Now, the backing I do is all rewards campaigns. I haven't backed an equity campaign, but it's true for both types of backing. You need to research and satisfy yourself that where you're putting your money it's going to be safe. Someone's not just collecting your cash and running off with it. Looking through Kickstarter, you will see a huge number of projects. Some of them have videos, some just have a little bit of blurb, some are just people with ideas scribbled on a piece of paper. It's a good idea to have a read through, look at all the information that's there, and it's fairly straightforward to make a judgment on whether you think that person has a viable campaign or not. Some people suggest that if it has a video, it's more likely to be a viable campaign, but my own personal view on that is that if it has a video, it could just be an even bigger scam. It's really the content that you're looking for. I back a lot of technology projects, and the thing that I always look for is there a prototype? Is there something you're being shown in the video? Are there detailed drawings of what it is that you're investing in? Because essentially with a technology campaign, what you're looking to do is help someone fund their project through to the end, not necessarily to develop it. I mean, there are campaigns where you are helping someone develop things, but essentially they've got the idea, they've got the prototype, and they need to develop that through to the end product. It's very difficult to quantify what it is that you should be looking for, but generally speaking, if you look through the campaigns on Kickstarter and something doesn't appear to be quite right, it's probably because it isn't. So number 2, always research the campaign before you back it. My third tip is only pledge as much as you can afford to lose. Now this might sound a little bit defeatist, but you have to remember that when you're backing a crowdfunding campaign, it's not like buying something from a retailer on the internet. If you buy something from a retailer, and particularly in the UK here, you're protected by a lot of laws. If the retailer doesn't deliver it, or if it's broken, if it doesn't do what it's supposed to do, there's a whole ton of legal stuff and avenues for you to explore to get your money back and to not have to pay for that. That's not what's happening here. What you are doing, essentially you are gifting this money, and whilst they have a moral obligation to provide you with the rewards that they said they were going to, there's not necessarily a legal obligation. Now, this is very untested in law because crowdfunding is quite new, but one thing is for sure, you are not entering into a retail agreement, and it's worth remembering that. By and large, whoever's running this campaign doesn't actually owe you anything. So make sure when you're going into the campaign that you're not betting your shirt on it, because if it all falls apart, you could end up losing in the same way as if you bought loads and loads of shares in Polypec in the 1980s, for example. So, number 3, only pledge as much as you can afford to lose. My 4th tip is very specifically to do with rewards-based campaigns, and that is be prepared for delays and be patient. If you are investing in a product, or if you are investing in a venture, a film for example, the person who's created that campaign is very excited about it, wants it to be done, and along the way they will have difficulties. A lot of them look at the risks, and they will discuss the risks in the campaign, what they are, what they see as the problems might be. In my experience, 95% of campaigns do not end when they're supposed to. So be prepared for that. Be prepared for the delays. When you do get them, you generally find that the campaign owners or the project owners will fall into one of 2 categories. They'll either not tell you anything, or they will tell you everything that's happening every single day. I personally prefer to be kept well informed about what's happening. When there are delays, you just have to take it on the chin. So if you're investing in a rewards-based campaign, my 4th tip is be prepared for delays and be patient. Finally, my 5th tip is really a matter of etiquette, and it is be polite. How terribly British. If things go wrong, or if you've got any queries with the project owner, then it's best to send them a message, but be very polite about it. As I said before, they have a moral obligation, but they don't have necessarily a contractual obligation to provide you with anything or within a particular time frame. And taking to social media and spreading loads of nastiness about them really doesn't help, because they are more than likely desperately trying to finish their project, get it all out. They don't want to upset their customers. And if you look on the campaign pages and all the comments on the pages, you will see people getting really irate. Maker didn't do this, they didn't do that. It's not really helpful, and it's not really constructive, because what happens is that whoever's running the project then has to take time out to try and calm everyone down and not cause a panic. And it's fair enough if you have concerns, but there's a right way and a wrong way to go about it. So my tip number 5, like I say, terribly British, is be polite when you're raising queries. Hopefully you found these tips useful. If you're thinking about getting into crowdfunding, do check out my website. It's at www.fundittogether.com. There you'll find news, campaign reviews, and tips for backers as well. Thanks for watching.